Kristi Noem was asked about the number of U.S. citizens who've been detained by ICE, and rather than come up with any excuses or explanations, she just flatly denied that any citizens were held at all.
There's no American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally, and anything that you would hear or report that would be different than that is simply not true and false reporting. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Democrats are investigating the arrests of U.S. citizens after a ProPublica investigation showed that ICE has detained more than 170 citizens in recent raids. And the New York Times, citing video of federal agents tackling people and even telling a group of Latinos, including a U.S. citizen, they have no rights. This morning, the Times editorial board published an op-ed titled, "Being Latino in the United States Should Not Be a Crime," writing that the Trump administration's immigration crackdown has become a campaign of discrimination against Latinos with tactics that violate both law and human decency.
Kristi Noem is under congressional investigation. Congressman Robert Garcia just launched a joint investigation with Senator Richard Blumenthal into the Department of Homeland Security after reports that American citizens are being detained by our own government. No warrants, no lawyers, people disappearing off U.S. streets. ProPublica uncovered that at least 170 Americans have been wrongfully arrested by DHS. Many denied phone calls, denied counsel, and held for days without charges, all under the Trump administration's directions. Garcia and Blumenthal have demanded every record from the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Garcia said it best. He said no one should live in fear of being thrown behind bars by our own government because of their race or what they look like. America doesn't jail people without cause. That's not law enforcement. That's tyranny.
I want to ask you about a flood of videos that we're all seeing on social media showing immigration officers across the U.S. using pretty aggressive tactics. There was one from Friday showing agents pinning a Chicago TV station employee to the ground. She was later released without charges. Another shows ICE agents shooting an unarmed pastor in the head with pepper balls. There were countless more showing agents tackling people, pulling them from cars, shoving journalists, detaining U.S. citizens, questioning their citizenship. Do you have any concerns as you see all this about how ICE and other immigration agencies are conducting themselves?
Look, I don't know the specifics of those examples you gave. What I do know is these ICE agents are under tremendous pressure. Many times you talked about, some people have raised a concern about them wearing masks and different things. Many times the Antifa people who are protesting against them in these, in Chicago, in these ICE-free zones, according to the mayor of Chicago. I think they're functioning and working under extreme pressure. I think they're doing a good job.
This is what we want you to open your eyes to. If it can happen, as we've said time and time again, if it can happen to folks with green cards, it can happen to citizens. And in Oklahoma City, we see a perfect example of that. This is what we're talking about. It's not other people. It's us. It's our neighbors. It's our friends. It's people who just moved from Maryland to Oklahoma for a better life and have their house destroyed. And they can't get answers. If we watch the rest of the news clip there, they're asking ICE, who's responsible for this? And then they're sending them to another agency, and they're sending them to another agency, and nobody is accountable for what happened to them. This is what my colleagues are trying to fund with this bill. Armed federal agents breaking into homes, even of U.S. citizens, traumatizing them, taking their possessions. This is Trump's America. That's why we continue to talk about due process. It's not some pie in the sky idea. It's what literally holds our country together. Without due process, without the belief in the Constitution, we are not Americans. That's what gives us the ability to say we are an exceptional country in the world, that everyone who lives here gets due process. And we're going to keep saying this over and over and over again for everyone who lives here. What happened to that family, once again, of American citizens in Oklahoma City should scare the hell out of all of us. And we should not be using this committee to find more money to pump into ICE so that these things can happen. This family is all of us. That's what we're trying to say today. This family is all of us. And I can't believe that in our name, on our watch, this is happening to people who live in this country. Open your eyes. Wake the hell up.
We also need to hear from Department of Homeland Security Secretary Noem. She made time to go to Chicago for a glossy promo video, but she refuses to meet with me and Senator Duckworth. She won't respond to our oversight request and denies us access to detention facilities in the state we represent. We were there last Friday. There were demonstrators there. In the course of the day, 4 were arrested and detained. It was a quiet day. People were exercising their constitutional rights in a nonviolent fashion, as they should. When I was chair of this committee, I held a DHS oversight hearing with Secretary Mayorkas during the first year of the Biden administration. He faced tough questions from both sides of the aisle. You probably remember it. Unlike the current Attorney General, he didn't insult this committee with his responses. Mr. Chairman, we sent you a letter in June asking when Secretary Noem would appear before the committee.
Now I'll recognize Mr. Magaziner for 5 minutes.
Madam Secretary, on April 24th, a woman in Louisiana was deported along with her 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, both of whom were U.S. citizens. The 4-year-old son had stage 4 cancer. Now, you just stated under oath that the mother consented to having her U.S. citizen children removed. But I have spoken with the attorney for that U.S. citizen child with stage 4 cancer. She has also made numerous statements to the press in which she stated unequivocally that at no time did the mother consent to her U.S. citizen children being removed. What evidence do you have to support your claim that she did consent?
Congressman, we followed the same policies and procedures
What evidence
for every
do you have?
and we
What
have
evidence do you have?
We have
that
documentation
she? What documentation do you have that mother consented?
We'll get that to you, sir. I don't have it with me.
Please do. I understand it's hard to keep them all straight because you've deported
multiple
multiple U.S. citizen children, but I'm asking specifically about the 4-year-old with cancer who was deported on April 25th. For the record, that family was also not given access to legal counsel before they were deported, even though their lawyer was in the same building at the time. I'm holding in my hands here a document called ICE Directive 11064, Interests of Non-Citizen Parents and Legal Guardians of Minor Children. This is the policy for how ICE agents should handle situations like this. It states unequivocally that parents and legal guardians should have the ability to make alternative care arrangements for minor children prior to their arrest or detention, and that ICE must afford parents the opportunity to consult with legal counsel. So, did the ICE agents working on this case who deported this 4-year-old with cancer of their own volition fail to follow ICE policies, or were they directed to by your office or anyone else in DHS leadership?
Sir, this mother chose to keep her child with her.
You have not produced any evidence to say so, but I'm asking again, have you directed DHS officers to ignore this
It's
policy?
very different than the previous administration.
The Trump administration have gained a reputation for fudging numbers, firing experts, and deleting data. ProPublica's reporting is the only reason we even know the number of U.S. citizens detained by ICE, because the Department of Homeland Security doesn't release data on the detention or removal of U.S. citizens from the country. And it's not just data about U.S. citizen detentions that they're hiding. There have been at least 25 officially reported deaths in ICE custody in 2025, but there are numerous reports of ICE releasing sick detainees to undercount death figures. Republicans like Noem love the aesthetic of ICE, they like the raids, they love the cruelty, but they know deep down that if the American public fully understood what they're doing, they would be forced to stop.